The world has once again been reminded of the brutal and unpredictable nature of war, as recent Iranian missile strikes have sent shockwaves across the globe. This is not a scene from a dystopian film, but the unsettling reality we find ourselves in. These strikes carried out by Iran have jolted us into a heightened state of alertness. They've taken place in strategic locations, demonstrating a calculated approach that is as concerning as it is daunting. The missiles used in these strikes were not your ordinary weapons. They were state-of-the-art, sophisticated, and deadly. These are not the tools of a small skirmish but of a full-scale confrontation. The immediate aftermath was, predictably, chaos. The full extent of the damage is still being assessed, but the initial reports suggest significant impacts. These events are stark reminders that peace is a fragile state, easily shattered by the thunderous roar of missiles. The world now finds itself on the precipice, gazing into a potentially tumultuous future. In the face of such aggression, the world watches on, bracing for the potential repercussions. Understanding the unfolding of these events is crucial to grasping the full scope of this situation. Let's start from the beginning. The first signs of tension emerged in the early weeks of 2024, when intelligence reports began circulating about potential missile threats. The situation escalated quickly, turning these threats into a stark reality. By the second week of February, the first missile was launched. The target? A military base in the Middle East. The strike was sudden and devastating, causing significant damage and casualties. The world watched in shock, as the smoke from the wreckage painted a grim picture of the conflict. The second missile launch occurred just days later, this time targeting a different military installation. The precision of the strikes was chilling, leaving no doubt about the capabilities of the forces involved. The international community reacted with a mix of fear, condemnation, and calls for restraint. In the wake of these strikes, the days turned into a blur of emergency meetings, diplomatic negotiations, and public addresses. World leaders voiced their concerns, while local authorities scrambled to provide aid and support to the affected areas. By the end of February, 3 more missiles had been launched, each one escalating the situation even further. The targets varied, from military bases to oil refineries, each strike causing more damage and claiming more lives. Throughout March, the world held its breath as the situation teetered on the brink of an all-out conflict. Despite international pressures, the missile strikes continued, each one a stark reminder of the volatile state of the world. As we delve into April, the situation remains fluid and unpredictable. The world watches and waits, the echoes of the strikes still reverberating across the globe. These events have not only caused immediate devastation but also raised tensions to a boiling point, making the world a more volatile place. The ripple effect of these strikes is far-reaching, affecting not just the immediate region, but also the global community. On the political front, the strikes have strained diplomatic relations, pushing nations to choose sides in a conflict that threatens global peace. Economically, the strikes have disrupted oil supply routes, causing prices to surge and economies to falter. The humanitarian impact, however, is perhaps the most heart-wrenching. Civilians are caught in the crossfire, their lives disrupted, their safety compromised. The international response has been mixed, with some nations condemning the strikes, others calling for restraint, and still others caught in a fog of indecision. The future, as it stands, is uncertain. The strikes could spark a chain reaction, leading to escalated conflict, or they could serve as a wake-up call, prompting a renewed push for diplomatic resolution. One thing is clear though, the world cannot afford to stand idly by. The stakes are high, the world is watching, and the question on everyone's mind is, what happens next? In the midst of this complex and volatile situation, several key points have emerged that we need to keep in mind. First, we've unearthed the unsettling reality of the recent Iranian missile strikes. These strikes are not isolated incidents, but rather, they are part of a larger narrative that has been unfolding over time. Secondly, we delved into the chronology of these events, providing a timeline that helps to put these incidents into a broader context. This timeline reveals a pattern of escalation and retaliation, a dance of power and politics that has far-reaching implications. And finally, we explored the global impact of these actions. These missile strikes have not only caused immediate damage and loss of life, but they also have ripple effects that echo across the globe, influencing international relations, economies, and even our daily lives. As we navigate through these uncertain times, it's more important than ever to stay informed and aware. Remember, knowledge is power.